And we are live. Good evening, Unique Couples community. My name is Vito Patrick, one half of Unique Couples with Vito and Linda Patrick. And I want to welcome you here to another Unique Couples Sunday Night Live. Sometimes we get so caught up with what our spouse is supposed to do and is not doing that we forget our part. Today, we will look at what every husband needs to know and do with special guest, Pastor Dr. Eddie Victor on Unique Couples Sunday Night Live. Man, this is for you. Stay tuned in for more. You want to go ahead and subscribe to our Unique Couples YouTube channel. You want to go ahead and like this video. When you're subscribing to the Unique Couples YouTube channel, you want to make sure that you turn on that notification bell so you can know every time Unique Couples go live. So you want to go ahead and you want to share this as well. You want to like it and you want to share it. You want to get all of the husbands, all of the men, because this evening we're going to be talking about what every husband needs to know and do. So you want to make sure get them on so they can be a part of this awesome presentation that we're going to be sharing here this evening on Unique Couples Sunday Night Live. So stay tuned. We want to thank our sponsors for making this program possible this evening. We want to thank Style Me Pretty, Shadra. You can go ahead and contact her at 242-441-7977. Shadra at Style Me Pretty. We also want to thank Hair to Please. We want to thank Doris at Hair to Please for sponsoring this evening's program, and you can contact Hair to Please at 242-351-1962. You can contact Doris at Hair to Please. And then we want to thank the Nail Lab Creation for sponsoring the program this evening. The Nail Lab Creation, you can contact Anna at 242-439-0523. The Nail Lab Creation. Yes, so this evening we are here and we're talking about what every husband needs to know and do. And we have special guest, Pastor Dr. Eddie Victor. Good evening, Pastor Victor. How are you?
Good evening to you and your wife, Linda, and to the Unique Couples audience and those across the online medium. It's wonderful to be with you tonight.
All right. So we just want to welcome everybody back here. And like I said earlier, this evening, we're talking about what every husband needs to know and do. And we are here with Pastor Dr. Eddie Victor from Freeport, Bahamas. Pastor Victor is the pastor of Living Waters Assembly of God. He is also the president of the Coalition of Concerned Citizens and president of the National Pastors Alliance. Also, Pastor Eddie Victor, he has been married for 30 years to Pastor Margot Victor, and they have 3 beautiful kids. And it's ironic that Linda and I, we share the same anniversary date as Pastor Victor does. Yes, July 27th.
Oh, that's a good day.
Yes, sir. Yes, it is. So, Pastor Victor, we want to welcome you again. and we want to thank you for joining us today for this conversation. So, can you go ahead and tell our viewing audience a little about yourself?
Married 30 years to my wonderful wife, Margot, my gift from God. The woman that God clearly told me that she was for me. And so, outside of accepting Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior, the next best decision I made was to marry my wife. We have been in ministry for about 30 years. And even from the time that we began courting and dating, and we both had a heart for God, and we were committed even during our dating stage before we got married to doing the work of ministry. And so 30 years later, we are fulfilling that more and more. And the future for us in ministry, there's so much to do. So we have an exciting future ahead of us. But God has blessed us in so many different ways. You mentioned our three children. Um, all three of our children, we've dedicated them to the work of the Lord. And as they have grown up, because now we got three adults. My
Yes.
youngest became an adult, so we got three adults, and they love the Lord in their various different degrees. And as each of them establishes themselves as more and more as an individual and pursuing the their purposes in life, God has been working with them in so many different ways. One of the things which we are blessed with, and I really know this because of what is people have said to us, is that when when we had gotten married, our first area of ministry was evangelism, and so we were very heavily involved in evangelism before becoming pastors. We're still evangelistic very much in our approach to everything, but during that course of our marriage, all our children came along, and they have been involved in everything we've done. So when my first son, we went on what we call short term uh, trips into the island, where we would go door to door, do evangelistic services and what have you. So my first son, um, he was going on trips into the islands with our teams, just as a little baby. And so we would have, as we're going out and doing ministry, we handed him from one person to the next. So he got this nickname called Hand to Hand. So so
Oh,
so so, he was, and so he was there with us in so many different stages of our ministry work. My second son, we were actually in the Turks and Caicos Islands, and that's when he began to walk. So he began to walk in the Turks and Caicos Islands. And so
okay.
so so and all of them have been so instrumental to us because they work with us in different places in the ministry, and it's very noticeable to people. And that's one of the things I want to just point out, is that the fact that people have said to us, it's so wonderful to see how your children work with you in
Yes.
ministry. You see, and I'm told that that is a special thing to see happen. And so
Okay.
so God's blessed us in that way. I am not only a pastor, I am an activist. And so we have gotten into so many different aspects of anything involving social and economic issues on our island of Grand Bahama. And we actually have a what we call lower the cost of power or electricity campaign that we've been doing for some 7 years, where we've been advocating and fighting to lower the cost of electricity on the island. And one of the reasons I got into that, me and my wife, is is that when we saw the amount of people, not only in our church but throughout the island, that were living without power. They're getting disconnected. They can't afford to pay the electricity bill. You have to decide whether to pay your rent or your electricity. Pay your mortgage or your electricity. So we launched that campaign because of the hurt that we saw that a lot of people were going through, and so we still active with that campaign. We got a new day government, and so I will be on the doorstep of the new prime minister, and I'm going to be saying, lower the costs, help us lower the cost of electricity in Grand Bahama. So there's so many things I can talk about of what we're
Yes.
involved in, and I think the most notable thing that for us, the most significant thing that happened with us is in the aftermath of Hurricane Dorian. 70% of our island was covered by water during the hurricane. So we had massive flooding. It's estimated on Grand Bahama about 6,000 homes got flooded. And 2 days after the hurricane left us, we were in full mode distributing supplies. Planes were flying in with supplies for us to distribute, and we were distributing immediately. We actually began the first distribution, or I should say, our distribution warehouse was actually my house. So we put everything in
Okay,
the house.
awesome.
We didn't get flooded. Thank God, we did not get flooded. As a matter of fact, the golf course, which we live around, the golf course got flooded. And so for one day, my golf course property was beachfront property or waterfront
Wow.
property. For
All
one day,
right.
I wish I could sell it that day. I would have got a lot of money. But anyhow,
Amen.
but we began the distribution from our home, and then later on, we partnered with the Grand Bahama Disaster Relief Foundation, and they had established a warehouse, and along with what was being sent to us from the United States to distribute, and what was coming in through the Grand Bahama Disaster Relief Foundation, we distributed and helped approximately 38,000 people on the island with relief supplies, and we did that really working with other pastors. It would have been about 130 approximately pastors across the island, different denominations, fellowships, independents. It didn't matter really. Once you're a pastor and
Yeah.
and you wanted to help people, we distributed to those pastors, and they helped
All
us.
right. So you guys did an awesome job with that, and you have a great ministry that's going on in terms of helping the community,
Yeah.
and we commend you for such an excellent job
Hmm.
on what you have done. So today, so last week we would have talked on what every wife needs to do. And today we want to focus on the men in terms of what the husband's supposed to do. And what we want to do, Pastor Victor, we
Yeah.
want you to tell us when you look at husbands and their role, position, and who they are called to be, what would you say every husband needs to know and do?
Well. Here's the thing that every husband, whether you are Christian or not, the Bible does talk about the position of the husband, the wife, and the structure of the family. But what we have to remember is that um, when the Bible reveals to us that we are the head, it does not mean headship to control your wife or your children. When I say that, that headship really speaks to responsibility. Every man has to understand you're responsible for your wife and your children.
Yes.
and that responsibility means that you must take care of them. And I'm not talking about the physical material things, because a lot of husbands tend to um, they brag about, oh, they buy this, they do this, they do this, they brag about it. But we're talking about being responsible for the destiny and the future of everyone that is under your responsibility. So I have a responsibility as a husband to ensure that what God is doing in my wife happens. I have a responsibility in what God is doing in my children to make it happen. Um, um, Therefore, I've been given a great responsibility. Every husband is given a great responsibility. You have to realize that as a husband, you and a father, you are charged with ensuring that God's plan manifests in the lives of your whole family. And that means that a husband has to be sensitive to God as they're sensitive to their spouse. And
Yeah.
we have a tendency, we've seen it so many times when we deal with different couples. Some men are sadly are very chauvinistic. They have a misconception of what the Bible is truly teaching, right? And so it's important that men take up their role of responsibility. I got to speak into my wife's life. I have to support my wife. I have to speak into my children's life. I have to support my children. And there is no great thing or small thing when it comes to your family. Your support to every person in your family is important. And even when they're doing little things, to see your support behind it. When your children a lot they'll remember a lot of things, but I'm going to tell you one of the most memorable things that they will remember is what their father did in supporting what was going on in their life. So men really have to step up in a major way. They have
Yes.
in
Yes,
my
they
in my
do.
oh yeah, they do. In my view, um, they have uh, equal responsibility to be involved in the lives of everyone in their house. I mean, so you know, to leave the wife to just take care of everything with the children is not the way it ought to be. There has to be a united involvement. Um,
Yeah,
um,
because the man, they are also known as the priest, the protector, and the
mhm.
provider.
Yes, that's
And
correct.
and and one of the key things which you mentioned earlier was that husbands, are not controlling. They have to care for their wives and children.
Exactly,
And
exactly.
and, and, and that's important. And
Yeah,
then,
yeah,
like you said, husbands, they have to be sensitive to God and their wives.
yeah, yeah. As a matter of fact, the more closer you get to God as a man, the more you realize how much care you need to give to your spouse and
Yes.
and your children. That's why one of the most important things that should happen in a man's life is to continually develop their relationship with God, and to be the priest, not just by their position, but be the priest by their actions.
Yes,
Um,
that's
you know,
very important.
when we look at the priesthood biblically, the priest was not just a figurehead that you just say, okay, here's the priest. Um, the Bible uh, reveals to us the priest and their function. So a priest functioned, and so if you're the priest of your house, you should be a functioning priest. All right, not a figurehead. That means you're in action. You should be praying for your spouse, praying for your children. You should be demonstrating your priestly responsibility in everything that's going on in their lives. And
Yes,
so
your
you have to be
priestly duties.
you got to be a priest by your duties. And I'm not talking about religious stuff. Yes, there is a Christian responsibility, but it's the things you do that
Yes.
that the God manifest in the actions that you do when it comes to your family.
Awesome. Awesome. For those of you that are just tuning in, we want to welcome you to Unique Couples Sunday Night Live. We are here with Pastor Dr. Eddie Victor, and this evening we're talking on the topic what every husband needs to know and do. And for those of you that are tuning in, you want to go ahead and type in hashtag Live Squad. Let us know that you are there watching with us. Those of you that are watching the replay, you want to go ahead and type in hashtag replay. I see we have Gia. Good evening, Gia. We have Julie. Hello, Julie. We have Typhus. Typhus is saying hello, Mr. Victor. Typhus said hello to you.
Yes, yes.
Kevin, we want to welcome you. We also have Angela. So we want to welcome all of our viewing audience that's watching
Wonderful.
here with us this evening. So you want to also go ahead and share and you want to like. Because here at Unique Couples, we also have our Unique Couples Marriage Club. And in our Unique Couples Marriage Club, it's all about motivation, inspiration, and transformation. You want to join us to increase the intimacy, communication, connection, excitement, passion, trust, friendship, fun, and more in your relationship. So you want to make sure that you get join the Unique Couples Marriage Club. Go ahead and type in hashtag club in the chat so you can be a part of the Unique Couples Marriage Club. We want to take your marriage to another level. We say that you will be getting your spouseology degree. This is where you want to be learning your spouse, studying your spouse. Yes, we know that marriages are being affected all over. So you want to make sure you want to take your marriage to the next level. So you want to be a part of the Unique Couples Marriage Club. So Pastor Victor, can
Yes.
you go ahead and let us know what happens if a man is not living up to his role or responsibility? How can he be accountable?
We broke up for a minute there. Could you just say that once again?
Yes, what happens if a man is not living up to his role or responsibility? How can he be accountable?
Well, if you are blessed like me, and I got a strong wife, okay, my my wife um, is submitted as a wife,
Uh-huh.
but at the same time, she's a strong wife. My wife, if you see that I'm doing anything that she needs to address what I'm not doing, let me assure you, my wife lets me know. And that's important because um, when a woman comes under your responsibility, she has to be able to speak what she is feeling, and she has to be able to speak to you. And if she sees that you're not doing what you're supposed to do, she should be able to say that to you. Now, some men take that the wrong way. I think many times they begin to say, "Oh, the woman is trying to tell you what to do." What I found with most women, they just want the man to be who he's supposed to be, and so they get frustrated. Let's put it like this, man: if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, you will have a frustrated wife,
Yeah.
and she will take out that frustration on you and maybe the family. Or you need to be able to communicate. You know, I'm sure as you have done so many of these different programs. One of the biggest issues with men, with husbands and their wives, is communication.
Communication, yes.
Communication is the biggest issue,
Yeah.
right? A man says 2 words, a woman will say 20 words, right?
Yeah.
Women want to communicate, and then they should be able to talk to you. But instead of taking it as, oh, this woman is coming against me, the wonderful thing how God created women is that they, when they speak to you, they're trying to help you become better. They're trying to cause you to come into your place of purpose. And so, and actually they're trying to help you elevate yourself to come to a better place as a man, as a husband. And so we have to be able to listen to our spouses and understand that God uses them to make us better. That's why for all the single men that are out there, pray and ensure that you marry the right woman. And then once you have found the right woman, be the husband that that woman needs.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so it means that you have to be, as a man, you got to be humble when you're not doing what you're supposed to do, or you're not functioning the way you ought to, and your wife is bringing this up to you. You got to be humble enough to say, you know what, okay, I'll work on that. Honey, I'm sorry about that. um, um, and men generally, I should say, it, we could be hard headed. It takes a little more time for things to sink in, and
Yeah.
and 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 you could solve a lot of your problems if you can soften your hard headedness somehow, and just begin to, okay, let me listen to what my wife is saying, and let me make some adjustments and changes here. Um, This is why communication is key. It's paramount. You got to be able to talk. Um, 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 I have to be able to speak to my wife. My wife has to be able to speak to me. There has to be this continually open line of communication about anything.
Yes, because communication is tied to everything. You have to communicate on everything. So lack of communication would cause a major problem in marriage. And
Yeah.
husband, men, those of you that are listening, you want to make sure you listen to your wife. Take the time out, listen to her, and hear what she has to say. That communication is very important. And when you're listening to your wife, you want to make sure that you listen to what she is saying, because you don't want to look like you're listening and then you're not hearing her. So it's very important that you listen to what your wife is saying. Yes, Pastor Victor, I wanna thank you for answering that question so well. Communication is very important. That lack of communication, that can cause a lot of issues.
Listen, let me just say, because you pointed out something is very true. That word, listen. Um, there's a tendency, depending on your personality, where we don't listen enough, but we talk a lot. You have to learn how to listen. That means don't say nothing, especially when your spouse is talking, and listen to what she's saying. And that means it's hitting my ears, but it's going into my spirit. It's going into my heart. I'm hearing her. And that is where a lot of roadblocks are, just in listening. Because that's why I said, I mentioned earlier about the hard headedness. We got to get past that, and be able to hear. Okay, I heard what you're saying, honey. I can't, and you have to be real. Some men, you don't like what they're saying to you, but if you understand they love you and they're
Yeah.
not saying that to spite you, you'll realize that what you have, is a partner that wants the best for you.
Yes. Yes. Awesome. Awesome. That was awesome. So, man, you have to listen. You have to take that time and listen because, yes, we know our wives, we know ladies, they want to talk. And it's a part of your duties, a part of your responsibility to just sometimes just sit down and listen. Don't talk. Just listen because your wife, she wants to talk to you. She's your best friend. She is your
Yeah.
spouse. She's your wife. So she's supposed to be able to talk to you about anything, and you want to make that time for her. So you want to make sure that you sit down and you talk to your wife. So man, you want to make sure you do that. Also, what I want to remind our unique couples community, you want to join us this week, 7 a.m. daily for our Sizzling September Quickies. So 7 a.m. daily in the Unique Couples Marriage Club. You want to join us for the Sizzling September Quickies, where you get this short 10-minute conversation. So you want to make sure you join us. Like I said earlier, if you are not a part of the Unique Couples YouTube Club, you want to look in the description, click on the link to join the Marriage Club, or you can put in the chat #club so you can be a part of the club. And then you also want to join us for our Sparks Explosion Date Night, September the 27th. Sparks Explosion Date Night. That's going to be 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You want to go ahead and type in #date night in the chat so you can be a part of the Sparks Explosion Date Night. And then we have our webinar that's coming up. Our Sex is Everything webinar. That is October the 4th, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You want to type in the chat #webinar so you can be a part of the Sex is Everything webinar. At Unique Couples, we have all of everything that you need for your marriage. That's why you want to be a part of the Unique Couples Marriage Club. Motivation, inspiration, transformation. You want to take your marriage to the next level. So, Pastor Victor, what would be your top advice to husbands who want to be the best in their marriage? What would be your top advice for husbands to be the best in their marriage?
My top advice to you is, as you're listening to your spouse, you need to listen to the things that are important for her when it comes to what you do, and begin to do it. Um, um, what I've learned and still learning is that a lot of what the women require from us is not really a major thing. They just want that attention, involvement, of their spouse, and many times, these are little things. I don't call it little in importance, but what I'm saying, it doesn't take a lot of great effort to do. You just simply have to lovingly do it. And so, as you listen to your spouse, what's important to her, then you begin to just do those things. Um, um, we were counseling a couple, and the biggest issue was with the wife was her husband doing things to help her. That was the biggest issue. And so we had we were able to point out the different things that the husband needed to do for the wife to make her happy in the home. And we told him, listen, I know you may be working, two jobs, and it's putting a lot of stress on you, but you got to schedule some time and say, let me do this for my wife. Uh, you know, um, Something as simple as washing the dishes, guys, um, is something that makes you can make your wife happy. Um, it's giving attention to the children or helping with homework.
Yes.
You have to listen to what your wife is saying. Hey, I need you to do this for me. I need you to step up in this area. And once you listen, begin to do it. In fact, um, as you as your marriage, as you become more matured in your marriage, as the years begin to um, become more in your marriage, you should know what makes your wife happy. You should know the things that make her happy, and just do it. My wife loves tamarind, so I'll surprise her by just bringing her a box of tamarind, right? And you would think that I did the biggest thing for the week. You know what I'm saying? A box of tamarind, right? So
Yeah.
so tamarind is my best friend. So because it makes my wife happy, right?
Yeah.
And so you
And you also know her love language.
exactly. You
You
got
know,
it. You got
that's
it.
that's important, man. You have to know your spouse love language,
That's right.
and it's those small little things, those acts of service, or spending that quality time, or like Pastor Victor said, just getting that little small little gift,
Mhm.
simple as tamarind. You want
Yeah.
to find out what these things are, and these are some excellent nuggets that we are getting from Pastor Victor. Those of you that are watching, you want to go ahead and type in your questions, put in your takeaways. Let us know exactly what questions you want to ask Pastor Victor. Let us know what is your takeaway. And I know one of the biggest takeaways is communication.
Yeah.
Communication is important. And like Pastor Victor was mentioning just now, man, as simple as washing the dishes. You want to make sure you help out your wife. And it's all about teamwork. Because if your wife is both of you working and you come home from work, if she is cooking, you can be washing the dishes. Both of you can be in the kitchen working together, and you can be communicating. It's called teamwork. All of it is part of communication. So that was an excellent nugget that you would have mentioned, Pastor Victor. Man, you just have to continuously help your spouse. You want to help your wife. That's very important. You have another one for us, Pastor Victor? I see you look like you're ready.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, when we talked about, you doing these special things. But it's also good to do things that completely surprises your spouse. Um, and plan it. You know what I'm saying? Just plan it. You say, um, you know, there are things that men take a lot of time to plan, and what happens in a marriage, as your marriage, as you continue to grow in your marriage, there's a tendency to take each other for granted. So what you need to do is you need to do some things to just surprise her. You know,
Yes.
that she didn't see it coming,
Yeah.
and and you just do it.
All
Okay.
right.
And you got to find, and again, you mentioned about love language, but it's learning your spouse language. What gets your spouse excited, and so you just begin to just do some things that she likes, or that you just surprise her with it. you know and 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 I think too, we have got so programmed with how the marketing is done in our world, that we only do special things on the special occasions that are marketed in our world. And when I say that, Valentine's Day, Mother's
Birthday.
Day,
Yeah.
birthday, Christmas, you don't need those occasions to do special things. You just do it, and there's no occasion that's attached to it. You just do it because you love your spouse.
Yeah.
And
So
and
so that leads to a question that is coming in. So I think you can continue, and then you can also add talk to this question.
okay,
So how important is date night, and how frequent should date night be
let me
instead of waiting for these special occasions?
let me tell you that the best scenario, I think, is that you want to have a couple of date nights per month. This pandemic has kind of changed a lot of things. right?
Yes.
So what happens a lot for us is particularly since this pandemic, and um, when Friday evening comes, Friday evening is a special evening for me and my wife. So I make sure, we're in this pandemic season. I make sure that I get my wife a dinner that she likes. Right now, if I don't get the dinner I like, I know that whatever my budget is, I'm going to get the dinner she likes, and whatever's left, I take care of myself. Right? So once I give my wife her fish dinner with her salad and with her plantain, and then I get her this big container of coconut water that has a
Yeah.
little pineapple in it. My
Yes.
wife is set for
Okay.
Friday night.
Awesome. Awesome.
And so date night is important, and women, it's not, for men, it's not so much spending a lot of money, because we have to also be wise with our finances right now, especially in Grand Bahama. But there are things that you do and you do it together, and that's important. Doing things together as often as you can. You mentioned earlier about, okay, cooking, and then you're working together in the kitchen. That's, you're doing something together. We have developed that culture in our marriage for 30 years, that we try to do everything together, literally everything, right? When I started dating my first became girlfriend, we got engaged and
Yeah.
got married. Um, um, I was in Bible school. She came into Bible school, so we were going to Bible school together.
Okay.
We go to church together. My wife doesn't go to church, and I don't go to church. We go to church together. And when we became pastors, we pastored together. We were ordained to the ministry together. We do marriages together. Right? We even do funerals together. Um, so there's this importance of doing things together, and so date nights are so important because you are doing things together, and
Yeah.
it's more important to be together than how much money you spend. I mean, really, sometimes what we have done is, we'll get this real expensive plate, and we split it in half.
Yeah.
Right? And you're economizing, but at the same time you're doing things together, and that's the most important thing, is to do things together. Plan it in your schedule. Any man, I've heard men, they just talk about what they provide, and the money for this and money for that, and they make sure, but they don't spend time with their wife. They don't spend time with their family, and you are robbing yourself, and
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
robbing your spouse, you're robbing your children if you're not spending time with them. And so, you need this. You need. That's important. Spending time together, date night, all of that is very important.
Yes. Awesome. And folks, you heard it exclusively here at Unique Couples. You heard it from Pastor Eddie Victor. That planning is important. The frequent date nights, and he mentioned, you want to have a couple date nights a month. That's very important. So, man, you you are getting all of these nuggets, so you want to make sure you take advantage of this. And what you want to do, you want to go ahead and watch this again, watch this replay. You want to take some notes so you can know exactly what you need to do, what you need to know, because this evening we're talking about what every husband needs to know and do. And this here is very important. And as we bring this conversation to an end, like I said earlier, you want to go ahead. If there are any more questions, you want to put it in the chat. You can let us know what are your takeaways. I see one person mentioned, listen to to the things that are important to your spouse and begin to do it. That's very important. You want to listen to the things that are important to your spouse and begin to do it. So, Pastor Victor, you can let our viewing audience know how they can reach you and connect with you on social media.
Okay. You can contact us anytime by the following numbers. You can WhatsApp us or phone us, message us at 646-9494. If you're in the Bahamas, or we know it's 242, but for those that may be outside the Bahamas watching this, it's 242. That's our area code, 646-9494, or 242 442 9624. Those numbers, one is myself, one is my wife. That is how you contact us. Also, our as far as online, we are broadcasting we live stream our service every Sunday on Facebook, and you can find us on my page, Eddie Victor, but also it will be broadcasting on our Facebook page, Living Water Assembly Bahamas. And also, you will find us on the National Pastors Alliance Facebook page. What we do, we upload our services to YouTube, and so you can find our services, our Bible Club program, prayer meetings, special events. You will find it on Eddie Victor Ministries on YouTube. And so, you again, those numbers I gave earlier, you could WhatsApp us, message us. We are fully functioning. I say a tech savvy a couple. So there, you can contact us by all the mediums, and we will definitely respond to our messages. We do our best to respond to every single message, and so we don't ignore any message. And we are here to serve and to help anyone who needs help.
Awesome, awesome. So, folks, you have it. You have all of the different ways where you can reach Pastor Victor. All of the contact information is there. So we wanna thank Pastor Victor for taking time out of his schedule to be with us here this evening on our Unique Couples Sunday Night Live. We were talking on the topic what every husband needs to know and do. And Pastor Victor, he gave us a number of nuggets in terms of what husbands need to know, what they need to do. Communication was one of them. Date nights was another one he talked about. Doing things for your wife was another one. Listening, he talked about a number of different things. So, like I said earlier, you want to go ahead and rewatch this. You want to take some notes because, like he said earlier, you should be maturing in your marriage, and you should know your wife. You should know your spouse. So you want to make sure you take the notes so you can take your marriage to the next level. And like he mentioned, the date nights here at Unique Couples, like I said, we have our Sparks Explosion date night that is coming up on September the 27th. So you want to be a part of that. You want to make sure type in the chat hashtag date night on September the 27th, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Like Pastor Victor mentioned, during this pandemic, you had to be creative when it comes to the date night. Unique Couples, we did a backyard date night sometime earlier last year, and a lot of folks also did that backyard date night. You just have to be creative. Then we also did the uh, the car date night challenge as well, where you went into the backseat of the car and you had a date night with your spouse. So you have to be creative and finding ways.
That's
You
a
know,
good. The
Yeah,
backstage date night. I like that.
yeah, yes.
Yeah.
You have to be creative. You know, you have to do that. And like you said, those date nights are important. Those date nights are very important. Also, like I mentioned earlier, we have our Sex is Everything webinar, October the 4th, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You also want to join us for that. So put in the chat hashtag webinar so you can be a part of that Sex is Everything webinar. And you want to make sure you subscribe to the Unique Couples YouTube channel. Make sure you turn on that notification bell so you can know every time we go live here at Unique Couples. And then you want to be a part of the Unique Couples Marriage Club. Motivation, inspiration, and transformation. You want to take your marriage to the next level. Join the Unique Couples Marriage Club. We want to thank our sponsors for sponsoring the program this evening. Shadra at Style Me Pretty, where you can take your little girls to get their hair done. You can contact them at 242-441-7977. Then we want to thank Hair to Please, where you can find all of your frontals, all of your weave, anything you need, all of your hair accessories. You can contact Doris at 242-351-1962. Hair to Please. And then we have the Nail Lab Creation. You can contact Anna at 242-439-0523. This is where you get all of your manicure and your pedicure. So you want to go ahead and contact the Nail Lab Creation. So Pastor Victor, we just want to thank you again for being a part of the Unique Couples Sunday Night Live, talking on the topic, what every husband needs to know and do. We had fun with you this evening,
Oh,
and we just want to say thank you again for our Unique Couples community. We want to say have a great evening. Enjoy the rest of the week. We know here at Unique Couples, we are building stronger couples, healthier marriages, and happier families. We love you guys. Have a great evening, and we'll see you tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. on Facebook and our Facebook private group, How to Strengthen Your Marriage. So have a great week and see you guys tomorrow. Love you guys. Bye.